Have you ever wondered about life's biggest questions? Like, why am I here? What happens when we die? Or what else is out there? Well, we have, and we love to talk about it. And if you're listening, we think you probably do too. I'm Robyn.
And I'm Karen. And we've spent our lives searching for those answers, and we're seekers just like you.
We'll be talking to some of the most fascinating spiritual teachers, healers, and scientists, and showing you how you can use some of their spiritual practices for yourself.
We'll also be sharing stories of other seekers to motivate you to live your fullest life.
And we'll be translating it all, so the spiritual stuff won't feel so out there.
So if you're curious, get ready to rediscover why we're here together.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, everyone.
We're excited to be talking. We have a lot to get to in a short amount of time. We know it's been a while since we last posted. You had just gotten back from Sedona.
Yes.
And you were radiating so much light and so much awakening that we shared that with everybody. In addition to also sharing our grand vision.
Yep. It was just an incredible time, I think, in both of our lives, right, Robyn? Because I had gone off with my mom to Sedona on this soul quest. And then you pretty quickly after that were getting ready for some surgery. So there was a lot of transition in both of our lives, not exactly planned on your part, more on mine. But I think that really opened us up to a whole different way of looking, not only at our own lives, but sort of our purpose and where we were heading.
Yes. And really to, I think, in different ways, get centered as to who we are and what we're here to do.
That's right. And I think for both of us, we've been on this journey for a bit, just having so much fun doing this podcast together, talking to these amazing people. I think one of the things that at least hit me really over the summer timeframe was that, manifestation is an amazing vision that we all have in our heads. And we all want to manifest as much as we can in our daily lives. 80% of it really is the hard work that goes behind it. So having the vision is wonderful. And that always changes and evolves, but you constantly have to continue to work towards what that manifestation really, really is. And I think that that's what we have done in the last few months.
Yeah. One of the things that I think people who are listening right now will recall if they listen to that last episode is that there was somebody who said we were going to get a check in potentially 5 weeks. And while that check didn't come, and what we did do was really invest in ourselves. Yeah. So we, as to your point of visualizing, which again, we shared with everybody that grand vision, which we still have the grand vision. It was also doing the work to get there in order to be able to create that vision in our reality right now.
One of the funny things I think that we talked about over that time was that vision was so clear in our mind of what we wanted to create and that we needed financial backing to make that vision come to life. And we both had so much fun with that idea of like, oh my gosh, well, what if someone actually wrote that million or $1 billion check to us? Oh my gosh, what would we do with it the very next day? And I think that was the catalyst for us really taking a moment and saying, gosh, manifestation would be fantastic. And yes, we have done that 80% of the work. And yes, it is right around the corner. And perhaps it isn't in the 5-week time continuum that, we had thought it would be. Maybe it's a sort of broader metaphorical kind of idea. So we really took the time to take a moment and say, oh my goodness, if somebody did give us this much money, how exactly would we spend it?
Yes.
And that was the exercise of a lifetime, was it not, Robyn?
Yeah, exactly. Well, and all of those exercises, the visualizing, the manifesting, the feeling of what that feels like when you do actually dream into it and you can see yourself in it, that is also attracting the right energy and the right people, which it absolutely did. And so I think to your point, it's a combination of all of it. So do some of those exercise and do the manifesting, but then you have to do the work. So which doesn't really feel like work when you're in it, honestly. Right. So we did do all of that. And then what ended up happening is we've spent every single day since refocusing and fine-tuning our vision for what we want to bring into the world in 2022. And along with that, we have met more incredible healers and practitioners, as well as other people who have expertise that can actually help us bring this vision to life. So that's what we're excited about sharing with everyone today.
That's right. And I think the other thing that came out of really the last couple of years, really in this podcast specifically, is in meeting all these people and having such great feedback from everybody who's listening and how valuable that information was for them. So many started coming to us asking for our feedback or our ideas on who they should go talk to. And I think out of that really came to life this idea of us almost becoming this seeking concierge, this connecting the dots, so to speak, between the best healers, practitioners, and healers that we know with a very specific personalized connection for that individual person who is seeking, because not everybody has the comfort zone of wanting to be with somebody who reads Akashic records, for example. So we really spent a lot of time honing in on that, as well as we're creating this broader portfolio of wonderful people that are looking to connect with seekers. We're also looking to connect those seekers with those healers.
Yeah, I would say that it goes back to what ended up happening for me in 2018, which was having this synchronistic meeting of different healers and practitioners in a short amount of time, and hearing what they were saying to me and recognizing that the same themes were coming up out of every single session. And what could I then do with it? And for me, it was coming up with a plan. And that is what we want to do for others. We want to help. We know that there's so much out there, and that people now more than ever are seeking guidance, which we need to just touch base on. We both believe that the world may not have been ready to receive everything we were bringing into the world, and that we did need to refine and refocus how we could best help everybody. And so what really has come out of these last few years is now the world is ready. We've all universally gone through this together. When we launched Seeking with Robyn back in March of 2020, we were holding each other's hands and trying to make sense of what was going on a higher level. And since then, we're not out of it. We're in a different place with all of it together. And now people are questioning why they're here. I think we've all been given this kind of gift of looking at the world in a different way. And what we can do is help make sense of it for people. And every person's journey is so different. And what we hope to do with what we're creating is tailor the experiences for each person so that they can get going with a plan. And it's just the beginning, because you and I know this journey never ends. Mm-hmm. So, but we need the guidance for how to get going. And that's really what we hope to bring to the world in 2022, is this very customized way of using all the spiritual practices and resources, souls who are the practitioners and healers, to really help someone reconnect with who they are and why they're here.
That's right. And then what do you do with that? What do you do with all of that information, the guidance that you're given? How do you make sense of it and really apply it in your day to day? So that's what led us to Seeking Center, which is what we're so excited about. It's this idea of creating not only a place, a platform, a show, but also a state of being that people can come to and grow in and understand themselves and their life purpose in an even broader way. And like you just said, Robyn, it's a journey that never ends. So how do you provide them with that resource so that they can continue that ongoing journey in a personalized way, so that they don't feel alone, and that as they move forward, that there's always another resource or always other opportunity to learn and grow more.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're learning as we continue to learn new practices, new resources, meet new people who have special gifts. And we've actually really honed our own gifts, which we are excited to share with everybody. We've been able to tap into our own intuition, and so that we can receive messages and share those with others. And so we know if we can do that, everyone can do that. So that's what we're also here to say. And we're really excited about continuing to work on this show, that first show, which we can't wait to bring to everybody, probably more towards the end of 2022. We launched this platform somewhere in the middle of 2022, and also really talk about this idea of what it means to seek center. What does it mean to seek your center? And so we're all in the state of seeking center. That is actually going to be the focus of our new podcast that we are launching in mid-January. And so we wanted to talk a little bit about what you can expect from our new podcast, our new weekly newsletter, and also having a conversation with everyone listening. We want to have more of a dialogue with what you want to hear. And we want to make it easy. We want this to be in bite-sized nuggets because that's how we all have so much going on in our world. And so we want to fit in a way that makes sense.
And I think just to add why this is so important to us in particular is, we have this grand vision and it's really exciting. And so many people have been behind us and uplifting us as we embrace this big idea. It's a lot to think through, like how a show and a platform, all of this can work together. And so I think the more we've talked to people who are really in the know about launching big ideas like this, they've really encouraged us to really start by building it. We want to just start right, into 2022 and connect and begin to build the foundation of what this larger vision is, which is the podcast and newsletter working together and reprising some of the people that we've talked to already, introducing them in new ways. But then also, as Robyn said, provide you some of that resource, that place to go to so that you can start to apply some of those learnings in your day-to-day life.
We see this as the skim for spirituality. We want this to be a snapshot for you for the week. This is what you can think about. We also will be making sure to leave every person with something that they can do during that week to better their lives, evolve their soul. Every single episode and or newsletter will have something for you to do or think about.
Exactly. I'm so glad you added that, because one of the things that we've noticed too within the last year, I'm sure many of you have as well, is there's a lot content out there now, right? Because people are starting to get more and more to the spiritual space. What we want to do is make it skimmable, make it something that you can really quickly.
We want to seekify it for you.
That's our new word, is how to seekify this information, which is really to make it real in your day-to-day life. Every podcast is going to be a little bit different. We don't want the format to be exactly the same each time. We want to start ideally with talking about things that are really relevant in your day-to-day world. What's going on in the headlines? What are the things that people are really grappling with? Make you feel like you can't figure out where to go on your own seeker's journey, let alone find your seeker center. So how do you begin to seekify some of those headlines and really look at the ways that you can flip some of that fear into love and light in your life?
Yeah, what I like to say is why this shit might be a gift. That's really what we want to do, is take what's going on that may, as you said, seem scary and turn it around. What is it there to teach us? And I think there was many of you listening that get that, but we kind of sometimes forget. I know I do sometimes. So we want to make sure that we are doing our best to turn it around for y'all and for us as well.
And in essence, that's really kind of what the skim is doing too, right? It's just kind of putting a new slant on the news and the things that are going on in the world. And really for us to be able to have a place to have an honest dialogue about it too, right? Sometimes the reality may be it's really shitty and scary. So how do you find your center in the midst of all of that? How do you bring yourself back to that place where you can move forward and find those ways to utilize what you're seeing and going on around you and flip it from fear to love, or at least fear to light, and moving in that direction. And then I guess the other thing that we talked about, so one of the other fun exercises Robyn and I have been doing over coffee on a daily basis is our download. And this is all about, again, walking the walk, right? And doing the work and putting the tools into practice. And so we've been doing a lot on our own in terms of meditation and really listening for the messages that we've been getting. And then we like to call it almost like a mind meld of taking what we're hearing individually and then pulling it together into a combined message that we can action together.
Yeah, we're going to share one with you in a sec. It's been fun and enlightening, I think, for both us, and we hope for everyone listening. And we actually like to think of it as your secret power. So that's, we're going to be giving you a secret power every single week. It's that actionable item we were talking about. The other thing we're going to do is we are going to introduce our weekly inspo, which will be talking to a different healer practitioner or introducing you to a new spiritual practice, because we know we learn so much every week and we just want to be sharing it with you all the time. And there are these incredible souls, which you met so many of them over the last year and a half. And we know we're going to be reintroducing some people, as well as introducing to a lot of new people, as well as different practices that we had no idea about that are changing our lives.
That's right. And to that point too, being obsessed with people and practices, we're also becoming quickly obsessed with so many of the incredible products that are starting to come to light as a result of people seeking and doing their work. And so people that we've been meeting as well have been serving up these beautiful products and things that you might not ordinarily find without us bubbling up in our newsletter and in the podcast. Products, classes. So we're really excited about that too.
And we're going to be introducing you to other seeker fam, people like yourselves listening right now. Every one of us has a story. And so we want to be able to introduce you to other seekers. And we know that they'll inspire us, and we hope that they inspire you. If you are interested in that, we want to hear from you as well.
So really all of this work, we hope you're excited about it and that you give us your feedback, because you are part of our soul family. And this is really all about you being part of this larger vision that we have. Everything that we're doing is to fuel this larger vision of creating this personalized platform, and ideally having this show light up the world with all of the awareness of these incredible people and modalities that they can learn.
Yeah. I mean, we just want to awaken that part of you that sees something bigger than our bodies. We want you to be able to feel that invisible, that energy, that you are energy. So we're really excited about all of this.
Yes.
And really putting it into practice in terms of creating that platform, launching the show, and so much more, just connecting all of us in this different way.
Yes, you are part of this.
Yeah.
We want you to give us as much feedback as you can about what you want to know about, what you want to learn about, products that you're finding. And yes, as Robyn said, you're seeking stories too. So
now we're going to do the download. We're very excited. This is our weekly mind meld. It really is what has come through us from our own guides and their messages that are for everyone.
And before we get there, just for 1 second, just to tell you how we got to this download, I think is really important too. Something my mom always taught me was that where two or more are gathered, the power is even more amplified. And so I think that was the thing that Robyn and I, we've known that since we started working together. But I think for this, what we did just to start is we just took about 10 minutes and just centered, quiet ourselves, and then really asked for a word or a visual, whatever comes to mind. This is how we got to this message. So I just wanted to give.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that with everyone. Setting that intention, which is really important. And you can all do this. Just remember, if we can do it, you can do it. And so this week's was so resonant because we both experienced messages about love and then beginning with love. And at first we were like, what does that even mean? We felt it and we could see it, but we were thinking, well, how does this translate to everybody? And first of all, we are all loved. And we're not talking about romantic love. We're talking about universal love. We are all products of love because we are born. So we are born with a spark within us. That is love that is connected to all things around us. And we don't remember that on a daily basis. I think most of us are caught up in our day to day and very literal, but we're talking about like, we are all loved. Okay. So if we start with that, which yes, there's always going to be unknowns, right? Every single day brings the unknown, but it's much more in our face than it ever has been before. So over these last few years, we're confronted with that on a daily basis. And over the last week now, more than it was 2 weeks ago, we're facing it again. The unknown brings fear. Mm-hmm. And what Karen and I always talk about is choosing love over fear. And both of us have that as a mantra in our lives. And we feel like it's very important to share that with you all and really translate it in a way that you can use it in your daily life.
The thing about fear is that it always tends to be louder than anything around you. And the moment that you realize that you have control to silence that, you always have that very simple power to be able to say, I can choose love instead. It's always a very, very simple choice, but a huge, huge shift, not only in how you feel, but how things will feel in your day-to-day world. So our thought in here is take that moment and realize when you are feeling that moment of fear, when you are in that biggest moment of fear, that you have that choice, that power to choose love instead. Simple mantra that you utilize when you feel that moment.
What I love, Karen came up with this visualization, which is really the love over fear reset button. So think of it as a reset. And sometimes, honestly, I have to do this every 10 minutes for an hour. I really do, because I can't get myself to calm down because the fear is creeping up. Mm-hmm. And when I do that regularly, and I realize I do have the power, we all have the superpower to choose love over fear. And I hit the reset button, and it's about love, which means that I remember I'm loved. I am love. I don't need fear. Fear represents darkness and love represents light. And I want to be light. I don't want to stay in the dark. And so when we do that, we hit that button, you can breathe. You can take that next step, and we all have that power. So we invite you to close your eyes for a moment. And what does love feel like for you? I think for all of us, it has a different color. It has a different feeling. And so feel it, see it, really take that in and see yourself being surrounded by that. You just chose love. And you can take that moment and that feeling, and you can utilize that throughout your day. So every time you hit that reset button and choose love, remember this feeling, remember what you're seeing.
I love to look at the reset button also almost as a light switch, right? Where you're taking the darkness and switching on the light. And again, it's just that simple visual where you can literally see your fingertips just flicking that switch and flooding your soul, flooding your heart chakra with just love and light. And in that moment, just breathe that in. Just take that one moment to feel that light and love permeate your soul and how that shifts your energy. It's so powerful. And you can be in control of that, and you can do that at any moment that you choose.
Yes. And what you are doing in that moment, it's bringing you back to seeking center. So remember that. That's the goal. We want to seek our center, live in that place. And we have the power. That's your superpower. Remember that.
Love that. And I hope this inspires you all to think about what Seeking Center is for you, to come back and join us when we launch our Seeking Center podcast and newsletter in 2022. We're so grateful for so many of you who've written to us and told us how much Seeking with Robyn has meant to you. It's been our foundation of growth too. And we feel like you're part of this, you're part of the family. And we just really look forward to just growing this more in 2022 with all of these wonderful ideas and visions that we have for how we can help connect people to their center.
Yes, thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts for being a part of the Seeking with Robyn journey and for going forward with us with Seeking Center. So please go to seekingcenter.app, sign up for the newsletter, go to Seeking Center Official on Instagram and follow us there. We'll be announcing our new podcast in early January. It will launch in mid-January along with the newsletter. And we so look forward to having a dialogue with you, both on the podcast, on social, through our new platform that will be coming out. And we hope to meet as many of you as we can and hope that you can meet one another and inspire one another. That's what we're here to do. We're here to learn from one another and share what we learn so that we can live our best and fullest, most fulfilling lives. So thank you.
Thanks. We'll see you soon.
Yeah. Here's to 2022, everybody. Love you.